What's up, people? Baseballer here, and I haven't made a video in a while, but, well, I mean, I've made plenty of videos about Dragon Ball. I haven't made a Power Level Warrior video in a while, so here we go. Anyway, Bullet has been making a bunch of social media posts as far as the new game goes, and I haven't really been reacting to too many of them. As some of you might have noticed already, I've changed my profile picture to the one with rice and risotto, and what's assumably people are theorizing that the woman in that image is I'll go to it so you guys have context. I'm mostly going to be talking about this post though in this video. But this image, this is what my profile picture is. If you want to double check that, take a double. I'm probably not going to change it to the new one. I'm kind of tempted to, because this one has all three of them. But Rice is obviously my favorite character. A lot of you guys know that. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of go talk about the information on this one, because when this game was first showing up and everything, Bullet didn't really have a lot of support. And I decided to make a story on this game. And something that I want to apologize for, because I don't know what I would title this video. I don't even know what the title of this video is going to be. But I want to apologize for including a lot of my hormones in my story. A lot of my testosterone hormones in my story. A lot of you guys might know what I mean by that. I'm kind of being vague about it, because for those of you that don't know, good, keep it that way. For those of you that do know, yeah. However, I don't regret the story as far as plot goes and everything. Obviously, there's things that I need to work on. But anyway, what I'm trying to get at with that is I hope that this game has a good story. I don't know if Bullet is going to expand upon the story at all, but sometimes I see these three characters. What I'm trying to get at right now is sometimes I see these three characters, think about my story, and remember, oh yeah, there were those panels that I drew, because I got a little too excited. Anyway, let's continue. I'll read the post so that you guys kind of have more context. I'm sure some of you have seen it already. Dealing with social media is a strange and daunting experience. It's a paradox, really. You're on a lonely, introverted journey, working one-on-one with your project, yet you're expected to be active and present online. So we decided to create a social media plan, which is why we started this lesson learned section. This is my way of sharing my journey with you and letting you in on the process behind everything I'm working on. I'm very grateful to everyone who has stuck with me over the years. I read all comments you leave for me on social media, so I've always been present in the background. However, responding to all of the comments would take too much time that is better spent on working on the game. After all, I want it to be made as soon as possible. So the question I'll leave for you guys to read and everything. But now I want to get to my, I'm going to comment on that, but at the same time, I'm going to transition it into, what I want to talk about as far as this image goes. I do think that social media can be a double-edged sword as far as content creation goes, whether it be YouTube, whether it be makeup tutorials or whatever, or game development. However, at the same time, I do think it is important to keep up with it, because if you're not keeping up with it, your audience is going to feel like they're not being heard and stuff like that. And I think Bullet does a very professional and good job at he tackles it in a professional way, but he also tackles it in sort of like a relationship sort of way. And I'm not saying that he has a relationship with every single person that plays the games, but at the same time, he's very good at addressing things in a way where it's like, oh, he actually cares. Because I'm going to be honest, guys, with Dragon Ball Legends and Dragon Ball Dokkan Battle and everything, the developers I think they're just mostly focused on the dollar sign. I'm not saying Bullet isn't focused on the dollar sign. Why would you make a project as big as this, putting your hard work and effort into it without expecting a return? But at the same time, Bullet is engaging with his audience, and that's something that I really enjoy. He's not just saying cookie cutter stuff oh, go to our FAQ section or whatever. No, he's directly addressing them. Oh, this is the reason why we can't do this. This is the reason I can't do that. And I really respect that. That is something that I really respect with Bullet as a game developer. And no, I'm not glazing him. This is my honest and genuine opinion. I think that's where he stands out from other game developers. Anyway, let's talk about this image. So I left a comment right here. Talking about, I don't want to go too much into it because it shows the other users, the other accounts and stuff. But their outfits, in my opinion, look like a mix of Burst of Power and Power Level Warrior, which is really cool. Because, I mean, let's go with Ryset, for example. Obviously, they're new. Don't get me wrong. They have a new flair to them. Like, Rice has, like, a yellow line going through his clothes, which is something that wasn't in Power Level Warrior. And he has, like, this black vest-looking thing going on. If I can zoom in. There we go. It's kind of similar to what Ryset has going on. But Ryset, like, kind of... I can't exactly put my finger on it, but I think the coloring of her shoes, and her shoes too, those look more like Bursts of Power because Power Level Warrior, she had like boots on. And then even her wrist gauntlets, I don't know what you call those. Those are from Bursts of Power because in Power Level Warrior, she had like black little bracelet sort of thing going on. Same with Risotto. Not really too much. Risotto looks, for the most part, 90% like Power Level Warrior. However, I will say, as far as like his upper body goes, like sort of like that torso area, it does kind of remind me of Burst of Power. Because if you guys remember, in Power Level Warrior, his sleeves were super short, like kind of cut short. Whereas here, they're longer. And that's something that like kind of says Burst of Power more to me, more so. But I don't think his design looks entirely new, aside from the fact that his gi is kind of separate in the middle, whereas previously it kind of overlaps, if that makes sense. And then let's go over Rice. Rice, again, I'd say is 90% Power Level Warrior. But some things to note as far as Burst of Power goes. His shoes remind me of Burst of Power. Again, he had boots, kind of like how Ryset did in Power Level Warrior. And then his hair looks... like, it kind of reminds me of, like, a mix of Burst of Power and Power Level Warrior. His design reminds me more of Power Level Warrior, but the way that the hair slicks back reminds me of Burst of Power. And the color also reminds me more so like Power Level Warrior. He has that collar going on, so there's that. And then he has, like, that new kind of design. I really like the way... the designs, in my opinion, in this game... as far as the way things are looking now, make more sense to me. By the way, I apologize for recording vertically. I just realized that. But I kind of have to, scrolling on YouTube the way I am. But anyway, their designs look like they make more sense to me. Like, I'm not trying to say that the designs were terrible in the previous games. But just the way that Rice's outfit kind of, like, slips through, like, the upper part slips through his belt, and then the way that Ryset has like I know it's kind of weird pointing it out, but like has a training bra and everything going on there, and she had one too in Power Level Warrior, but this is kind of like, you know, it makes more sense for somebody who's going to be in combat, you know, as opposed to someone that's just like, I can't exactly put my finger on it. And even this right here, the way that her pants are, like the way that she has like a kind of black shorts under it and everything, I think that makes sense as far as combatants would go. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to explain. But anyway, I'm excited for how their transformations are going to look. I know Bullet is very spot on with them, so that's something really cool to look forward to. And then there's this image. I'm not going to go into too depth with it because it's just Ryset in a pose. I will say I think Bullet is focusing a lot more on facial expressions because if you see here, she kind of has like a serious, like, focused face going on. But then in this image, she has a more casual, like, I can't zoom in. What the heck is wrong with this thing? She has more of a casual, like, anticipation, like, oh, let's get this thing going. You know what I mean? Anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. It's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't too long. You know, my videos tend to be a lot longer, at least 30% longer than I expect them to be. With Dokkan Battle videos are at least 150% longer than I expect them to be. But anyway, I don't know if this game's coming to iOS. I hope it is. I do I am considering switching to Android, so I should be able to play it then. But until then, I do hope that, depending on when this game releases, I do hope that it's available on iOS as well. Because I know that that's like half the audience, or half the, yeah,